Greetings and welcome to the ROI Clear podcast. My name is Ray Hightower, and today we are fortunate to have as our guest Mr. Merrick Lee Jr. Merrick Lee is the managing partner of Love Capital Partners, and we're going to dig into exactly what that means and what's going on there. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Merrick Lee. Welcome, Merrick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very glad to have you here. And you are managing partner of Love Capital Partners. Why don't you, in a nutshell, why don't you tell us what that is and what that means to you?
Absolutely. So when I was first getting started with my real estate journey, which was in 2023, last year, I first joined a mentorship called the Multifamily Mindset. Like I saw it on a random ad online, and I decided to go to this workshop that was free. And it just really caught my attention. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to be in real estate was because almost all through my, like after being in college, like I would go to my uncle's house, and the only channel that was on cable, and mind you, my family would pay for cable, but only watch one channel, was HGTV. And on there were just all these shows about like house hunters and a lot of different shows that really focus on value add. And I didn't even know really what value add meant. At the time, I just noticed that in all these properties that they would either buy or sell, it was always about adding new furniture to it, adding new coats of paint, just making the property more valuable and selling it back. And watching those shows, and me, I was always in digital marketing. Like I was never in real estate. I always wondered if I could never get there. And I always, in my mind, thought that's probably where I should be. But right now, my bread and butter of making money is in digital marketing. And so I never knew how in the world can I ever convert, but I've always wanted to be there. I've always watched the shows and said that needs to be me one day. And so eventually, as I've been thinking about it, and I went to this workshop about like multifamily mindset, which is all about basically adding value to multifamily apartment buildings and complexes, it clicked. It was just like, all right, you're here at this free workshop. Now you have an opportunity to really learn more and kind of go forward, with diving into real estate. And so I did exactly that. Like I was hooked. I just kind of used that as a sign that, hey, this is kind of where you need to be. Like you've kind of been nudged, through your life the last 10 years of like going in this direction, but you never really had the courage to just jump out and kind of do it or really go for it. And, that happens with a lot of us. Like we all have our dreams that we tend to just leave them as dreams instead of actually putting it on paper and putting in some type of work ethic to just go for it and do it. And I just decided one night, I'm doing it. I don't care. Like, if I fall flat on my face, so be it. But at least I will go to sleep the next day knowing that I tried. And, lo and behold, I decided to go in with that workshop, and, I learned so much. And then I ended up starting my own company, Love Capital Partners. And where that came from was like when I was going through the process of trying to name my corporation, like many people, I wanted to go with Merrick Lee Incorporated or Lee Incorporated, Lee Capital, right? So, as I was doing that, one of my neighbors, he passed away. And yeah, it was a very unfortunate situation. I had no idea what was going on. Before he passed away, January 2023, which same year, his wife passed away for cancer. And, I knew like, months before it, I want to say even a year or two before that, that she had cancer and she was going through it. And, he was a neighbor that was always like very upbeat, energetic. Whenever I would see him, like him and his wife actually adopted a daughter from Guatemala. And, raised her to be this amazing woman. And I've known them since I was like young, right? So, I watched them raise up this Guatemala girl, and like she's in college now, growing up to be a lawyer. And I just remember his name was Mark, and he would always be so loving with his family. Like whenever I would meet him, he would talk about, hey, Demi, their daughter, like all the stuff that she's doing. We would play softball together. He would talk about his wife. Oh, Lori's going on a vacation. I'm so happy I got to send her there. I got her some outfits. And he would always be so excited about his family. And, eventually that spunk went away. And, I
Mm.
didn't really understand what it was until I realized, and, I found out that his wife had cancer. And
Oh.
then, once she passed away, like when I say that this man turned into a whole nother person, like you could tell he had so much love for his family that when he saw his family was kind of getting pulled away, that it really impacted him. And so, during the summer, like summer after, Lori passed away, now Demi's in college, so he's by himself in the house.
Mm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing him walking around the neighborhood and he's just lifeless. And, I'm like,
Oh.
Mark, what's going on? Are you all right? He's like, no, it's just weird being here, just me and Tucker, the dog. I'm just here. I miss Lori. Demi's doing her thing. And, she comes here every now and then, but it's just not the same. It's not the same to, have our Sunday dinner without the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time, I didn't know he had cancer, right? I
Wow.
never knew until
Wow.
November he passed away. And then, I found out, and then I go to the funeral. I see Demi, I see his whole family, and everyone said the same thing. The man was so loving, so
Mm. Mm-hmm.
hardworking. All he cared about was his family. And that love name just kept staying in my head. And as I was
Yes. Yes.
doing the whole incorporation and trying to figure it out, I could not go to Merrick. I could not go to Lee Capital. I only could think about love. And when I looked it up, I asked the representative that was helping me, incorporate,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, what about Love Capital Partners? Does that even exist? I'm sure somebody probably has that, but let me see if that exists.
Right.
They said no one has it. You're free to have it
Wow.
yourself.
It
Exactly.
was available and waiting for you.
It was waiting. And right. And this is all in my mind. And I said to myself, you know what? If there's anything that I want to do, especially, of course, we want to get, rich or whatever from real estate. We want to make a difference in the world, but I want to be able to have that same attitude of like hardworking and have that same love for what
Yes.
Mark had with his family, with all the
Right.
people that I impact with our company, Love Capital Partners. And so I kind of wanted to tie it all in. And that's where I kind of took it and ran with it and decided, all right, this is what we stand for. And even in our automation, like if you join our email automation, you'll see the story. I have Mark and his
Yes.
family, and it's all about that. It's all about that hardworking attitude and making sure that we love people the same way he loved his family, that we leave a mark
Yes.
just like that.
That is a powerful story and adventure that you just took us through. Everything from your neighbor, the love between your neighbor and his wife, and then the daughter they adopted, and you watched her getting raised, from childhood to now, she's off in college, and the love for his wife, even the love for his dog, all of that. And it is amazing and powerful and positive that this had such an effect on you from a
Yeah.
very young age.
Yeah, from a very long, like I watched it, and me coming from a single family home, not saying, it's funny because I just was on the phone with my father. Like I know my father, me and my father are cool. It's just my mother and father never were together. Like they were never married, I would
Yes,
say.
yes, okay.
And so, being able to have like a lot of different influences where you can see like that nuclear family actually, exists, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
see that because, me being from the Bronx, I'm in New York right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Growing up in this neighborhood, like we have a lot of, let's say, me's, like a lot of people that grow up where you don't really get to see, a solid mother and father together in the household. You kind of have it
Yes.
separated and you don't necessarily understand the benefits of it. Like I remember distinctly when I was in sixth grade, my computer science teacher told us all, he's like, hey, if you don't have two parents in the home, a lot of you are probably not going to make it. A lot of you,
Mm.
statistically speaking, a lot of you are not going to be as good as the other people with mother and father. And of course, for me, you hear that, you got a chip on your shoulder, like, of course I'm going to make it.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
mother told me I could be whatever I want. My father told me I could be whatever I want. Just because
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
together, you think I can't be
Mm-hmm.
something? But as I grew older, I got to understand exactly what he meant. Like when I
Yeah.
started thinking about it and realizing I had a lot of baseball games that my father wasn't there for. I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like homework that I wish, my mother and father could help me with. It's a different experience when you have that family that's together that they one or the other can help, or if not both can help you at the same time. So I totally
Right.
got that. And then I saw what Lori and Mark did with Demi. And Demi is doing phenomenal. She's in law school right now at Pittsburgh. She's just an amazing woman. She's just
Wow.
phenomenal. Like
Yes,
really
yes.
sharp, really great. So yeah,
And you've seen that real time. You saw it happen, and like you said, you grew up with a relationship with both of your parents. You know, maybe it was unconventional, but you had the relationship and the influence and the imprint. So
yeah,
yeah, it takes a village, doesn't it?
it does. It absolutely does.
It takes a village. Now, you grew up in the Bronx,
Mhm.
and do you live in the Bronx right now, or are you in a different
Yeah,
borough?
I'm here right now.
Wonderful. Excellent. Yeah, yeah. I love traveling through the different boroughs of New York. You know, I've been over there by Yankee Stadium in the Bronx and all that. So yeah, I love exploring that.
Yeah.
Where do you invest? What markets are you targeting? And tell us a little bit about your buy box.
Sure. So right now I'm looking at just multifamily value add. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at B and C properties, properties primarily that are over 40 units. Year wise, I'm looking at 1978 or above. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
looking for anything that has like galvanized piping, like any super big problems that we got to really, deal with. But that's kind of like where I'm looking for right now. I don't have any property right now, but that's something
Mm-hmm.
that we're looking to do in the near future.
Yeah. Well, clearly you're putting your systems in place. You know, looking at
Yep.
your website, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, all your social media, everything, you've got your systems in place there. So it's as if, there's the story of, two farmers both prayed for rain, and one farmer actually prepared his fields to receive the rain. The other
Mm,
farmer just went back in his house and sat down. And which one actually trusted God to provide the rain? So I would say you are preparing for rain right now.
absolutely. Yes.
That's what it looks like. So given all those systems you have in place, and your marketing systems are certainly tight, tell us about your marketing background. You have a digital marketing background. Tell us about did you get that inspiration in sixth grade in your computer science class or later in college? Tell us about that pathway.
So the funny pathway about this is I've always been good with computers. Like ever
Mm,
since I was young, like my father, as a matter of fact, he was really good with technology. Like he would
mm-hmm.
be the type of guy that when he would wake up in the morning, he would have all of his radios turn on at the same time to the same
Mm.
station. So it would kind of be his alarm clock, but he had it all programmed. And
Yes, yes.
me, like I love technology as well. Like it's kind of like something that's been, given to me. I was
Yeah.
hereditary. And so yeah, I love computers. Like I probably have 5 or 6 computers around my home right now. Right now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
using Mac, but I have like Windows, Chrome. I have a lot of different Alexa Echo devices. Like
Yes,
I have a
yes.
lot of that stuff. And so the way I got into digital marketing was very ironic. So I went to school for business and aviation.
Mm-hmm.
Business because I wanted to be like my father, who was kind of in banking, and
Mm-hmm.
aviation because always wanted to fly. Like I figured,
Yes.
Peter Pan was one of my favorite Disney characters, and I figured, hey, we like to fly. Why not? This should probably be a good career for us. So
Yeah.
I decided to go to a school that had both business and aviation. And so
Mm-hmm.
I flew for a little bit. I almost got my private pilot's license before my driver's license, which is ironic because in New York, you don't have to drive. You just take the
Mm-hmm.
bus.
Yeah, really. Subway is remarkable in NYC. Yes.
Exactly. And so I almost got the private pilot's license before the driver's. And then, after I soloed where you're flying by yourself
Yeah.
without your instructor,
Yes.
I had a couple more takeoffs and landings after that. And I would say once I got to 110 takeoffs and landings, I realized I don't know if I really want to do this for the rest of my life. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And I had an alumni guy come in to talk to us students, and he was like, yeah, I'm 2 years out of the school. I'm a regional pilot for X company, and I'm making 35,000. And
Mm.
he
What
said
year
that
was this? 35,000 and
he was making that in 2000, either 6 or 7.
oh wow. Okay.
Right.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
And so he said that I'm sitting there just like you. I said, wow, just like that. I couldn't make a facial expression because I didn't want to, embarrass the guy or,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have a reaction with all the rest of my classmates. But
Right.
I thought about it and I said to myself, my school tuition is about like 40 grand if I'm not mistaken. And you're telling
Mm-hmm.
me that I'm about to leave school, to make $5,000 less than how much I'm paying for this education. The math is not mathing here. So like right away,
Mm.
like I started losing my spunk for it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I passed my FAA tests. I'm getting ready to do my cross check, get my pilot's license and move forward and maybe, get more hours to be an instructor and then get out there.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to drop everything, go right into business. I was like, you know
Okay.
what? I need to figure out how to make money because at the end of the day, I don't really want to necessarily be in too much debt when I come out of here. And I know I'm going to be in a lot of debt if I'm only making 35,000, two
Yes.
years after school.
Right.
So anyway, so I ended up, leaving aviation, parked that. I got into business and then I took a marketing class and it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, this is everything I want to do. Like I want to be
Yes.
able to
Yes.
create, I want to be able to do ads. I want to be able to kind of think like a consumer and figure out how to give them what they want. And I excelled at it. That was probably one of my highest grades in college was that
Mm-hmm.
marketing class. And then I love doing presentations. So it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of went hand in hand. And then after college, I couldn't find a marketing job. Why? Because I didn't have any experience. And
Ah, yeah, yeah.
so, there's that gotcha. And so
Catch 22.
catch 22, big catch 22. But,
Mm-hmm.
luckily for me, one thing, and if anyone's out there listening about like, probably going through a very similar experience with like college and can't find a job, leverage your network. Like networking is the best thing you can ever do because luckily for me, my first roommate, his name is Brian Delaney, which if you
Mm-hmm.
look him up, he's one of the top marketers in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Look him up. He was starting a company, and this is way back then. This is back in now 2010, I want to
Mm-hmm.
say. And he was just starting like his company, and I saw him, and I'm like, I see him on Facebook. I'm like, hey Brian, I'm having a hard time trying to get into marketing. Is there anything I can do for you that you can teach me what you're doing? I don't mind working for free. I just want an opportunity. I just want to learn what you
Yes.
know, just so I can kind of get in. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I'll send you some work. I'll teach you what I know, and then we'll go from there. And
Yes.
next thing you know, I learned so much about digital marketing. I learned about search engine optimization. I learned
Mm-hmm.
about ads. I learned about affiliate marketing. And this is just me reaching out to a friend saying, hey, use me. Like
Right.
I just need the experience and I want to, give you whatever I have in order to do it. And, fast forward right now, like, now it's 2024. If you Google the coolest guy on the internet, trust me, anybody, you get me. You could try it right now, right? Actually, you try it right now.
If we
Try it right
Google
now.
coolest guy on the internet,
Coolest guy on the internet. We're doing it on the spot.
we're doing it on the spot. I see world's coolest person, coolest guy on the internet. Oh wow, coolest guy on the internet is Merrick Lee Jr. Holy
Exactly.
cow! And it's got to
Exactly.
be right because Google said it.
Exactly.
So,
So
audience, I would encourage you Google coolest guy on the internet and take a look at the very first answer on page
exactly.
one.
So long story short, I would say after adding a little bit of value, to Brian and just saying, hey, I just want to be a resource, he taught me so much that
Mm-hmm.
like I was able to kind of take it and run with it. And from
Mm-hmm.
there, I was able to learn like a lot about digital marketing, as you can see right there. That's
Mm-hmm.
all digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into doing websites. I learned how to do apps. And then I just kind of build a career off of that, of just, those three things, just digital marketing, websites, and apps. And then, I've been in the space for quite some time. Always kind of looked at real estate saying, I got to be there one day. I just don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. And,
Yes.
we decided to take the jump last year.
Wow. All right. So it's interesting with your digital marketing expertise and the fact that you are the coolest guy on the internet. You've blended that with the expertise you've acquired in value-added real estate. Would you say that you are building multiple enterprises or one enterprise with multiple directions or multiple divisions? How would you describe that?
So I would say I'm building multiple enterprises.
Yes.
I wouldn't say they're all at the same scale because I feel like, the way I'm looking at it is I'm trying to figure out what do I want to do? right? At the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, do I want to stay in the digital marketing space? But as soon
Yes.
as I thought that I was leaving the digital marketing space, not for good, because it's really my passion. I love it. Like at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, if you go to a bar, think about it, ladies and gentlemen, you go to a bar, someone asks you, hey, what's your name? Instead of saying, what's my name? I just say, Google the coolest guy on the internet. Right. And then
Mm.
they're at the bar, you read it, and then you just start cracking up. You see me, and then you just say, wait, what's going on here? Did you hack my phone?
Oh
You know?
man.
It's hilarious. To me, it's one big joke. And so like I'll always be I'll
But it's
always
cool.
be
I mean, no one's gonna forget that.
never gonna forget. It's unforgettable. And so, yeah, so I feel like right now, to answer your question, it's like building multiple enterprises. Like I want to build my digital marketing arm still. Like I'll always want to do that. And I feel like I can help a lot of people. Even in our group, Raise Masters, I've
Yes.
helped, numerous people in the group, with some of their digital marketing just because I just know, like I look at your website and I'm just like, okay, maybe you might want to do this. Maybe you might want
Yes.
to do
Yes.
that. And so, and that's one thing I do love about our group is that it's very just open. Like everyone is sharing, everyone is helping each
Mm.
other. And like, I love that. And so, again, there's that digital arm, and now I'm trying to build that real estate arm. I'm trying to understand, is this a space where I belong? Because that's where I felt like I belonged before. And I realized
Yes.
real estate is really just digital marketing all over again, just with, assets. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing it through.
Yeah, you know what? I love that you said that. Our mutual friend Hunter Thompson likes to say, if you have a business, you're in the marketing business.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So that's like right in your, right in your bullseye area of specialization. So that's wonderful how that comes together.
Yeah.
That so comes together. Who would you say? My goodness, you've told us about what you're acquiring. Oh, geographically, what areas geographically are you investing in? What are you targeting there?
Sure. I'm looking at Georgia, Texas.
Yes. Oh, yes. Right. Growth states.
Big
Early
time
growth
growth
states.
and red states.
Yeah. There are definite edges there. Yeah. That something. We have another and Rob Beards to New York, invest in Texas. As you,
Yep.
yeah, there's a um overlap. And you know what's so wonderful about our business is that it's such a big, wide open field that there's room for all of us. It's like we're in this big blue ocean. There's a
Yeah.
book about that, isn't there? We're in
Yeah.
this
You're
big
right.
blue ocean, and instead of fighting with each other about fish, we give each other tips about fishing because there's a lot more fish than any of us could fit on our individual boats. So
Yeah. And on top of that, we help each other fish. And,
yes,
one thing I
yes.
really love, and especially I seen you in the group, when we have deals, we bring deals to the table and then we all can kind of group think and help each other raise for the deal. And I think
Yes.
to me, like this is a whole nother world that I've never really got to experience where
Mm-hmm.
especially in our group, and I hate to say this because I've seen it in other businesses and I've seen it in other like walks of life
Mm-hmm.
where I've never been in a spot like our Raise Masters group where it just feels like there's no color. We're all trying to be successful. We're all human and we all love each other. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
wild to me. Like when I
Yes.
see like how much support you get, when I see the support that I've got, and I'm just like, there's no like race, it feels like to me. Like I just feel
Yeah.
like people genuinely care and want you to do well, want to help you do well, and they're looking forward to you helping them do well as well. And it's
Yes.
just awesome. Like it's just the energy that I've been feeling, and just me being connected to you through Raise
Mm-hmm.
Masters has been
Mm-hmm.
just it's so
It
cool.
is. Yeah, everybody's it's almost like we're competing to see who can help people the most.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
It's such a yeah, it's so wonderful. So yeah, so kudos to Hunter and Adam and
Yep.
Josh and Cam and the whole team,
Whole
April, all
team,
of
they're
them over
great.
there for everything that they're doing to make this whole thing work.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, goodness, the time is going so quickly here. I've got, we talked about this a little bit. I have this long list of questions I want to ask you, but then we go on a roll. It's kind of like jazz improv, like we're ripping out off each other and all that. And I mean, you know all about jazz because you're in New York.
Yeah.
So you absolutely
Yeah.
know
Come
that.
to a show. I'll take you to a show. No worries.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to do that. Many times when I'm in New York, I have a cousin who plays, he plays bass guitar and he plays electric guitar, lead guitar in
Yeah.
in different bands down in Lower Manhattan,
Yep.
in some of those clubs in Lower Manhattan where it's crowded, everybody's bunched up.
Bleecker
They are
Street.
jamming.
Yep.
They are jamming. So yeah, I love the New York jazz scene, New York music scene. It's amazing there. So
Yeah.
speaking of music and jazz improv and excitement, what is it that excites you most about what you're doing now? You've got the combination of marketing and then the digital piece and the real estate piece. What is it that excites you about all of those? And then I would even throw in there aviation as well, because you've got your license. So what, if you look at that, like what is it that gets you up in the morning and you say, Merrick, wow, time to get up. I got all this stuff to do. What excites you?
Yeah, I would say the thing that well, first I will correct. I didn't get my license. I stopped right before I got my private pilot.
Oh,
So I
okay.
did stop there.
Got
But
it. Okay.
to answer the question, what excites me is that, I have my son Maddox.
Mhm.
And, I realize a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now has a direct impact on his lifestyle. And his
Mm,
lifestyle, not just now, because, he's expensive to me. When I think about it, I never thought in a million years, being a father that I would have to pay X amount for tuition. Because I'm like,
mm.
whoa, you're just like 6 years old. Why am I paying what I feel is a college tuition for
Hmm.
your school? But
Yeah.
whatever, we do that. But at the same time, I realize that's because, thank goodness, thank you, Lord, that I'm blessed to be able to do that. And
Hmm.
all I can see when it comes to going forward and what excites me is that, this vehicle of real estate, the vehicle of digital marketing, all of it together, these different opportunities, being able to talk to you and be able to, maybe talk to investors in the future about building and growing all together, that I know that I'll be able to continue growing his life. Oh, excuse me.
Hmm.
Continue growing our legacy as a family, and then maybe even have an impact for his kids and their kids. And
Hmm.
so, the only way to really get that started is to start now. And
Hmm.
that's what really gets me out of bed in the morning, is knowing that I have the tools and I have the ability to impact the lineage of our family going forward. And, my name will last forever, just as long as, I work hard for it.
Right. Work hard, be honorable, all of that, all
Yeah.
coming together. Wow. We're coming towards the end of our time together, and this is going really, really quick. It's just amazing.
We'll do it again.
Oh yeah, yeah. We absolutely want to do it again. Is there something in particular that I didn't ask you about that you would want me to ask you about, or that you would have wanted me to ask you about?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I would say, what's something you might be afraid of, when it comes to this industry, being that you've been in digital marketing for so long, you've, tried and tested these different things.
Mm.
What about this field makes you kind of like, okay, I'm a little afraid when it comes to this?
That is a very penetrating question. So I'll ask you, Mr. Merrick Lee Jr.,
Yeah.
what is it that you're afraid of in this industry? Where's the fear?
I think the fear is now failure. It's, you
Hmm.
know, it's me coming from, let's say the Bronx, let's say the inner city of New York, where
Mm-hmm.
most of the people here, if I walk out in the street, they have no idea. When I say multifamily, assets, they all have no clue what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Value add, no idea. I think that now that I'm in this space, that I have this kind of purpose to get like a deal in multifamily, to kind of be
Mm-hmm.
that person to show them that this can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, I feel like there's a lot of pressure, not just, the unnecessary pressure that I'm putting on myself because they have no idea. So they can't put the pressure on me. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like now that I've joined two mentorship groups, I've joined Multifamily Mindset, I've joined Raise Masters. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like to me, I owe it to myself that I kind of put myself in a position to have to get like a deal, to have
Yes.
to be successful. And I've had all these mentors, you included, where like, I feel like a lot of you are looking to me to be that success, to, we're pouring into you, we're in these different, meetings, we're going to Raise Fest, we
Mm.
have different like events, like all these events are geared to your success. And I feel like for you to not accomplish that success is a fear of mine. It's like, whoa, to go through all of this and not come out successful would be just tragic. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that keeps me up at night. It's like, hey, after I did my website, because I did my website myself. So I was like, I did my website.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, I'm flying out to Derek Peterson's home. I'm sure you know who Derek is.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to shoot video to, make
Yes.
things, a lot more personal. And so, I'm going very strategic, about getting things situated, talking to
Yes.
investors, and I got my first yes a few weeks ago. And yeah, like, so I feel like by the end of this year we'll probably have a deal or two, but my
Yes.
biggest fear is not having that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's interesting. That's something that we as entrepreneurs, you, me, the people that we interact with, that we face constantly, that battle against fear. And there was a senator here in Arizona, John McCain, passed away a few
Yeah.
years ago. John McCain used to say, fear is something that you don't beat once and then it's gone. You beat fear and you knock it out, and then fear goes off in the corner for a little while and you feel
Mm.
victorious for a while, and then fear comes back and you have to go and beat fear again. So we end up beating it again and again. And that is, as long as we have that, take that position that we're going to beat fear again and again and achieve. I mean, you've got some fantastic whys. You've got your son, Maddox, you mentioned, and you've got his tuition. Motivated. You've got all those motivators. You've got, your parents who put so much into you and your community and all of that. And it's exciting, and you're not afraid to get out there. You and I ran into each other at Race Fest here in Phoenix,
Yeah.
and now here we are through the magic of digital technology, talking to each other again from opposite sides of the country, and so all of that. So yeah, I would say just watching you and listening to you and observing you, you are absolutely beating the crap out of fear. That's what I see in you.
Thank
I
you.
see that.
Love
I
that.
see that. Wow. So as we wrap up, Merrick Lee, please tell our audience, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. So if you want to go to lovecapitalpartners.com, that's one way to do it. Another way, if you want to hit me on email, Merrick at lovecapitalpartners.com, that's another way. And then if you want to just Google the coolest guy on the internet, that's probably the funnest way to find me.
Yes. You know what? Maybe we'll put that at the top. The coolest guy on the internet, Google him and you will see who is that person. So, Merrick Lee, it has been a pleasure having you here on the ROI Clear podcast. I'm learning so much just listening to you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Ray.